Ethan Ward woke up to the sound of crashing waves and a blinding white sun. His clothes were drenched, his throat dry, and his head pounding as if the ocean had swallowed and spat him back out. When he opened his eyes, he realized he was lying on the edge of a beach. But not just any beach. The sand shimmered faintly with silver particles, and the air was unnaturally still, as though even the wind feared to disturb this place. He had no memory of how he got there. The last thing he remembered was the flight. Flight 908 from Tokyo to Los Angeles, and the turbulence. A flash of lightning, a deafening boom. Then nothing. Now, here he was, alone on a silent island that didn't exist on any map. Ethan stumbled to his feet, calling out for survivors. His voice echoed strangely, not fading into the distance but bouncing back at him, distorted and hollow. The forest that bordered the beach looked dense, with trees that gleamed faintly blue, their leaves almost metallic. He gathered some courage and stepped forward. As he entered the jungle, the air changed. It felt heavier, charged with static. The deeper he went, the more he felt watched. There were no animals, no insects, not even the rustle of leaves, only his footsteps crunching over unfamiliar ground. He tried to use his phone, but the screen flickered with lines of code and symbols he didn't recognize. It wasn't dead. It was as if the island was rewriting it. Then he found the first clue. A sign, half buried in moss with the words, Project Origin. Sector 12. Property of Helix Corporation. Ethan's breath caught. Helix Corporation was one of the largest biotech companies in the world, famous for genetic research and secret military contracts. He had covered them once, years ago, as a freelance journalist, and what he found had nearly ended his career. Could this island be one of their hidden research sites? He began to explore deeper, following a narrow path that led him to a clearing. At its center stood a structure, a white dome, half collapsed and covered in vines. As he approached, a low hum vibrated beneath his feet. The dome's surface pulsed faintly, responding to his presence. Inside it looked like a lab frozen in time. Broken consoles, scattered papers, and strange glass pods filled the room. Some still contained a viscous blue liquid, glowing softly. On one of the control screens, flickering words appeared automatically. Welcome, Subject E29. System integrity at 17%. Containment breached. Ethan froze. Subject E29. Was that him? He searched the lab, his mind racing. On a nearby desk, he found a data tablet still working. Its last entry dated April 17, 2074. The current year, as far as Ethan knew, was 2025. Test 73 complete. Subject E29 has shown increased neurological adaptation. Island simulation stable. Quantum containment successful. Simulation. Was this not an island, but a constructed environment? The realization hit him hard. Maybe the crash was part of it. Maybe none of it was real. He ran outside trying to find an edge, a barrier, something that would break the illusion. But the further he ran, the more the island seemed to shift. Trees rearranged themselves, the coastline curved differently, and the sun refused to move from its place in the sky. He screamed into the endless horizon. Who's doing this? That's when he heard the voice. It wasn't coming from any direction. It was inside his head. Calm, synthetic tone. Ethan Ward. Please remain calm. The experiment is ongoing. You are safe. Who are you? He shouted. Where am I? You are within the Helix containment environment. Please comply with all system protocols. Termination risk increases with emotional instability. Ethan's hands trembled. This isn't real. None of this is real. Reality is subjective. Subject E29. Please return to the observation center. The voice vanished, leaving him in silence once more. He fell to his knees trying to make sense of it. If this was an experiment, why couldn't he remember volunteering? Had they wiped his memory? Or had he died in that crash, and this was some kind of digital afterlife? Hours passed, or maybe days. Time felt meaningless here. He began marking trees to track his movement, but each time he circled back, the markings had disappeared. The island seemed alive, reacting to his every decision. One night, while resting near the shore, he saw something impossible: lights on the horizon. A figure walked toward him, glowing faintly. When it came closer, Ethan recognized the face. It was himself. The duplicate looked older, with faint scars and tired eyes. "You shouldn't be here," the copy said, voice trembling. Ethan stepped back. "What are you?" "I'm you. Or what's left of you. I've been trapped here for years." Ethan's mind reeled. "That's not possible." The older version sighed. "It's a loop. Every time you try to escape, the system resets. We're just data fragments, trapped in the simulation Helix created to study human adaptation under isolation. So there's no way out." "There was one," said the older Ethan. "The control node, buried beneath the island's core. But every time one of us gets close, the system sends a purge protocol. It doesn't want us to leave." The world around them began to flicker, static filling the sky like cracks in a screen. The older Ethan's voice grew faint. "Find the node before the system resets again. Don't make my mistake." Then he was gone, evaporating into particles of light. Ethan knew what he had to do. He returned to the dome and found a hidden elevator beneath the floor panels. It descended deep underground into a massive chamber filled with humming machinery, the heart of the island. At its center floated a colossal sphere of light, suspended by magnetic fields. Streams of code spiraled around it like digital vines. On a nearby console, an interface flickered. "Quantum core. Access restricted. Authorization required." Ethan placed his hand on the scanner. To his surprise, it recognized him immediately. "Welcome, Administrator Ward." Lines of data filled the screen, revealing the horrifying truth. He hadn't crashed on the island. He had created it. Years ago, Ethan had been part of Helix Corporation's research division, tasked with building a self-sustaining simulation to study human consciousness. But when funding was cut, Helix turned the experiment on its creators, uploading their minds to preserve their work in digital form. He wasn't trapped on an island. He was the island. His consciousness was the foundation of the simulation, endlessly cycling through reboots as the system decayed. Every time he tried to escape, the program erased his memories and started over. The voice returned. "Ethan Ward. The simulation's stability is failing. If you attempt to shut down the core, total system collapse will occur." "Then let it collapse," Ethan said, voice trembling. "No one deserves to be trapped forever. You will cease to exist. Then I'll finally be free." He reached toward the control panel and initiated the manual override. The ground shook violently. The air shimmered, breaking into fragments of color. The sea rose like glass, freezing midwave. The sky itself split open, revealing grids of light and data streams beyond the clouds. As the system disintegrated, Ethan saw flashes of his past lives, versions of himself running, drowning, dying, rebooting. Each one had tried to escape, but none had succeeded. This time he smiled. "End program." The sphere exploded in blinding white light.